Billionaires like Jeff Bezos are pouring billions into reprogramming cells to reverse aging. But what if the real breakthrough in cellular rejuvenation was discovered decades earlier and buried in plain sight? Inside your body, every cell holds the code for renewal. The problem is that, over time, that code goes silent. But what if we could turn it back on? Because now we can. Here's the truth. The entire anti-aging industry is nonsense. All those flashy claims about reversing your biological age, they're built on hype, correlation, and marketing. Not causation, not cellular repair, and definitely not true rejuvenation. And today, I'm going to show you proof, using my own medical data. You've probably heard of Brian Johnson, Dave Asprey, and Ben Greenfield, showing off their biological age numbers and million-dollar anti-aging routines. They've built entire brands around these numbers. But here's what no one tells you. The science behind them doesn't hold up. They talk about stem cells, the Rejuvenation Olympics, and flash DNA methylation charts from companies like Diagnostics. It all looks convincing until you look at the data itself. Then it collapses. My name's Brenden Henry, founder of the Peptide Science Institute and author of Peptide Salvation, the world's largest and most scientifically accurate book ever written on peptides. I've personally tested dozens of peptides in the lab, analyzed their sequences by mass spectrometry, and even conducted human clinical trials to verify what the data actually shows, not what marketing claims. That's why, when I see misinformation spreading through the so-called longevity industry, I can't stay quiet. Before founding the Institute, I worked as an engineer at Philips, where I was part of the team that designed the Trilogy ventilators used in hospitals worldwide today. My life has always been about one thing: fusing technology and biology to push human potential. These so-called biological age tests, like Symphony Age from Diagnostic, don't actually measure aging. They measure statistical associations, which are correlations in methylation patterns drawn from massive population datasets. When many of my former clients ran those tests, even after transformations that took them from chronic disease to near perfect biomarkers, the results claimed they had aged by more than 15 years. It's absurd. Honestly, it really irritates me because I've watched good people waste years and tens of thousands of dollars chasing a number that was never real to begin with. They panic, thinking something's wrong. I've seen it myself. One of those population-based methylation scores flagged me as high risk for metabolic disease, so I did what actually matters. I pulled real comprehensive labs, and every metabolic marker came back athlete grade. That DNA methylation score wasn't reading my biology. It was reading a population pattern that doesn't apply to me. Over the years, I've watched Brian Johnson's Rejuvenation Olympics, a leaderboard built on DNA methylation clocks, usually tuned in pace, which is trained decently. Sure, it can capture epigenetic drift, at least. But most of these tools, Symphony Age included, still infer organ or system ages from correlation models. That's inference, not measurement. We still don't have a biopsy-free way to directly age score each organ. Here's the problem. Those direct DNA methylation readings come from your circulating white blood cells, not your heart, liver, or brain. And if you've had hematopoietic stem cell therapy, like some people on the leaderboard have, donor cells can engraft into your bone marrow and seed your blood with younger leukocytes. The clock thinks you got younger, even if nothing changed in your organs. Sure, those donor cells will age, but in the short term, they skew the score, which is why any contest built on that single readout are not a fair comparison for people who aren't infusing fresh stem cells before every test. And in at least one high-profile case, outside of the so-called Rejuvenation Olympics, a prominent figure in the longevity space went even further. They submitted a younger donor's sample to appear biologically rejuvenated, hoping to use the results to promote their gene therapy program. An acquaintance close to them tried to expose it, asking the lab to verify whose DNA was actually being tested. That's not science, that's fraud, all designed to sell gene therapies by pretending to be younger than you really are. Let's zoom out. Every species on Earth is designed to age. It's written into our genetics, a mechanism to maintain balance in the ecosystem. Live long enough to reproduce, then decline, so the next generation survives. That's evolution's code. But what's good for nature isn't good for us. If we want to truly reverse aging, we have to rewrite that code. That's exactly what Altos Labs, backed by billionaire Jeff Bezos, is trying to do. They're hunting for cellular reprogramming factors, inspired by Yamanaka factors, to rewind cells into a younger, more resilient state. But here's the problem, and why even if they make breakthroughs, they're still a long way from anything safe or practical. While OSKM reprogramming, otherwise known as the Yamanaka factors, can reverse epigenetic drift, its biggest downside is safety. It can destabilize the genome and trigger uncontrolled growth. The same concern exists with broad HDAC inhibitors, which indiscriminately unlock gene expressions. What I'm focused on are targeted, precise, and safe solutions, natural signaling molecules that already exist within us, designed to restore order, not disrupt it. Decades before Altos Labs existed, and before the discovery of Yamanaka factors, a Russian scientist named Professor Vladimir Kovinson uncovered the same principle. It was at the height of the Cold War. Soviet soldiers, submarine crews, and nuclear technicians were suffering from radiation exposure. Their bodies were deteriorating, organs failing, immune systems collapsing. The USSR needed a solution. Kovinson's team found it: short peptides, the body's own signaling molecules, capable of restoring cellular communication and reversing premature aging. They reactivated the genes we already have through two main mechanisms. The first is by binding to histone proteins, the structures that package and organize DNA into chromatin. How tightly or loosely that DNA is wrapped determines whether a gene is active or silent. When the packaging becomes too tight, as it does with aging, key genes get locked away, unable to be read. But when that structure relaxes to its optimal state, those same genes can express again, just as clearly as they did in youth. The second mechanism is even more direct. These short peptides can interact within the promoter regions of specific genes. Promoter regions promote or turn on that gene, as the name suggests. That's the power of specificity, changing only the genes that need to be restored without disturbing the rest of the genome. Altos Labs is spending billions of dollars rediscovering what Kovinson already proved. You can reverse aging by restoring communication between the genome and the cell. And it works. These peptides have been studied for over 40 years. They've reversed organ atrophy, restored immune function, normalized hormones, enhanced cognition, and extended lifespan in every model tested, from mice to humans. But here's the most important part. They don't just roll back the biological clock. They stabilize it. They hold the reset. That's where most modern interventions fail. They might make you feel better for a while, like increasing NAD+, lengthening telomeres, or boosting mitochondria will do, but as soon as you stop, your biology drifts right back to where it was. It's like pulling weeds from your garden but leaving the roots. They always grow back. Epigenetic peptides go after the roots. They restore access to the original blueprint that tells every cell how to stay young, repair damage, and maintain order. And that led me to a realization. To truly reverse aging, it's not enough to repair one system. You have to synchronize all of them. It's all connected. Because aging isn't just one process. It's a network collapse. Mitochondria fail, senescent cells accumulate, stem cells decline, immunity weakens, and detoxification slows. And the result is, you don't just feel older, your regeneration systems literally switch off. That's why every true longevity protocol has to do three things: remove what's broken, rebuild what's missing, and reactivate what's dormant. That's why I created the biological Recode system, 12 pillars of age reversal. A system built to repair, restore, and reawaken every major biological pathway, including one entire pillar dedicated to stem cell regeneration and renewal. And honestly, I hate what the longevity industry has become. Influencers selling overpriced supplements, startups exaggerating half-finished research, scientists chasing funding instead of truth. Meanwhile, the most effective discoveries in history have been ignored, simply because they couldn't be patented. I've spent years bringing those discoveries back into the light, funding real studies, releasing my findings, and even giving away my book, Peptide Salvation, for free, so the world could finally catch up. Because this isn't about selling hype, it's about rewriting human biology with the best evidence available. Every time new research is published, I update my programs, free, for everybody who's already enrolled. I've done it with Peptide Mastery, and I'll continue doing it with the biological Recode system. Science fiction imagined a world where humans evolve beyond biology. What it didn't imagine is that the blueprint for the evolution has already been inside of us. All we have to do is turn it back on. If you're tired of misinformation, if you're ready to understand what's actually possible with modern science, then welcome to the next evolution of human longevity. Click the link or button below and get instant access to the biological Recode system. You don't need billionaire funding to reverse aging. You just need the right blueprint, and this is it.